am so excited to go through this book with you guys because there is so much goodness in here. And I think through this experience of just going through 8 dates, actually going on the 8 dates, talking about the 8 dates and what we learned on those 8 dates, I think it's really going to do a lot for your relationship. So if you're at a point where you're like, it would be really fun to do something fantastic with my spouse to deepen our relationship and our intimacy, I encourage you to read this book, go through it with us, grab your friends, bring them in. This is going to be a really great, fun experience for us for the next 8 to 10 weeks. This book is so fun. So hopefully you've gotten your copy and you've started to read the first chapter, which is basically just preparing you to really have an awesome time on these 8 dates. And so you start, this is really cool. This copy of 8 dates, if you can see here, was signed by John and Julie Gottman. It's like, it means a whole lot to me because it was signed by both of them and they are really phenomenal. Their research on marriage is absolutely incredible. So the first part of this book is the conversations that matter, your date night, the 4 skills of intimate conversation, and the art of listening. Basically just getting you prepared to get the most out of these 8 dates, which each represent a conversation that really matters. So I thought I would just read a couple of really great quotes that are in this first conversation that matters. What stood out to you about the first section of this book and what you would like to focus on as you are going on these 8 really essential dates. So in Conversation That Matters, John Gottman says that while the expectations for marriage and partnership have never been higher and the challenges have never been greater, it isn't a coin toss. It isn't a chance. It's a choice, right? So even though the divorce rate is really high, whether your marriage works or whether it doesn't, it's not a chance, it's actually a choice. And he's shown this through research. Successful long-term relationships are created through small words, small gestures, and small acts. A lifetime of love is created every single day you are together. So how do we actually make that happen? One of the greatest gifts of relationship and marriage, and there are many, is the ability to see the world through the eyes of another person, intimately, deeply, profoundly, in a way we're almost never able to do with another human being. If you approach the mystery that is your partner with curiosity, your relationship and your life will be immeasurably enriched. So, as I'm always saying, curiosity plus vulnerability equals creativity. And I definitely think that this curiosity piece is such a lost art. We are in such a hustle bustle mentality that we often forget to get curious about our partner, to ask open-ended questions, to really get to know their inner world. I always say, even if you spend 24 hours a day with your spouse, which most of us don't, we're not experiencing the world in the same way. And so how can we get really curious about our partner each and every day and have these conversations that are connecting and enriching and really helping us see the world through their eyes, learning about our partner and increasing our fondness, affection, and admiration is one of the things that John Gottman found that really increases your chances of having a really happy marriage. And he talks about a few more. And then in the next section, he talks about the importance of date night, which I talk about all the time. I have plenty of handouts if you're interested on how to really make date night effective. I have 10 tips to ensure date nights end in fireworks. I also have 51 questions that you can ask your spouse. All of these for the purpose of really asking your partner open-ended questions, getting to know the things that they're thinking about, and igniting that passion, that fondness and admiration that you can have for each other that you started with when you were dating, when you were hanging on every single word your partner said, right? So this is doing that after years or decades of being married. You can still have that same curiosity and that same fondness and admiration for your partner that you ever did. So date nights are really important, and that just means setting aside the time to make your partnership a priority, where you're not talking about business, you're not talking about kids, you're just really getting to know each other on a personal, intimate level. So date night's really, really, really important. He talks about a few guidelines of how to use this book, one of which I thought was really great. The most important guideline for this book and for the 8 dates that follows is to have an open heart and mind, an attentive ear, and a true desire and curiosity to connect. It's also to prepare in advance. Another really important aspect of date night is not to just jump in your car, pull out, and go, what should we do for date night, right? It seems so attractive when we're busy and, we finally get on date night and then we're like, what should we do, right? So planning in advance is a really, really important guideline that we can take for date night. So if you're the kind of driver of these 8 dates, then you should be the one to really plan out the dates. So that is really, really important. And then in the next 2 sections, he talks about the 4 skills of intimate conversation. Skill number 1, put into words what you are feeling. And then he lists all of these different feelings. Skill number 2, ask your partner open-ended questions during an intimate conversation. Again, getting to know your partner's inner world, increasing your fondness and admiration by learning what their perspective on life is, right? And their experiences and how they see things, most of the time different from how we see things. Skill number 3, make exploratory statements to help open up your partner's feelings and needs during an intimate conversation. He gives tons of really great examples of ways to do this. And then skill number 4, express tolerance, empathy, and understanding towards your partner during an intimate conversation. These are these little statements like, I can feel the pain you feel. I'm on your side. I totally agree with you. That is very scary. No wonder you felt angry, right? It's these little phrases that show that we are validating and understanding our partner's experience. So very important. And then the final thing that they talk about in preparation for these 8 essential conversations that you're going to be having on these 8 dates is the art of listening. And I'm going to let you go through this chapter because it's a really, really great one, the way that we can listen. So the truth of it is, this first section, it's short. I reviewed it last night again in preparation for this, and I thought it was really concise, great ways to prepare yourself for these 8 dates. So this week, get ready for the very first date, which is Lean on Me, Trust and Commitment. So the topic of the very first date of the first 8 dates and essential conversations are learning about each other's views, history, experiences, ideas about trust and commitment, which is so very important. So read that chapter this week. And when you're planning this weekend's date, you want to have prepared by reading this chapter. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thanks for joining me. To learn more ways to deepen your intimacy and strengthen your relationship, make sure you watch this video next.